I'd like to call the Carthage City Council meeting of Tuesday, June 24th, 2025 to order. Chief Martin, if you please give the invocation.
Yes, Your Honor. Heavenly Father, we gather tonight and we thank you for our health and ability to be here. We ask that you bless those who are traveling. We know Miss Lise and her husband have suffered some family loss and are traveling for that. We ask that you bless them and comfort them. We also ask your blessing upon those others in our community who may be suffering or in need. Father, look into our hearts, examine them, and fill us with your wisdom so that the result of our efforts here will bring glory to you and you alone. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the clerk will please call the roll.
Peterson,
Present.
Gilpin,
Present.
Lease, West,
Here.
Perkins,
Here.
Thorne,
Present.
Snow, Schramm,
Here.
Wells.
Here.
All right, Council, I know that you've had a chance to read the minutes of the previous meeting. I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I move that we approve the June 10th, 2025 minutes as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the June 10th meeting. Any questions? Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, next, we have no presentations or proclamations tonight. We would not like to invite any member of the public that would like to address the council. Please step up to the podium, state your name and your address, and limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm Jan Reed. I live at 204 West Macon. I moved to this town about 6 years ago and quickly discovered an ugly side to this town. And it's the stray and feral cat population compounded by an ineffective animal shelter and animal control. I volunteered at a cat shelter several years ago, so I signed up to volunteer at the Humane Society here, only to find out it was a very unfriendly place to volunteer. I took a stray kitten. I found out there and was informed about the $200 fee. No wonder pets are abandoned. Sometimes animal control will take them, sometimes they won't. When a pregnant cat showed up in February, I contacted the shelter, offered to foster her and the kittens until they were weaned, and get the mother fixed at my expense. They declined my offer. She had 4 kittens on March 6th, and of course animal control won't take them. They handed me a list of resources which proved to be totally useless. I have been unable to find homes for them. Please address this issue. Many stray and feral cats do not survive their first year. They deal with harsh weather, lack of food and shelter, predators, disease, and car accidents. Even with human help, they have a miserable life. Sometimes they disappear one by one, but not always. Sometimes they die with us, or we find their bodies. I have 3 cats and 3 kittens buried in my backyard. This current mama cat had 2 litter mates still on the street who had kittens shortly after her. They had their kittens across the street from me. Councilmember Thorne has been a wonderful ally in the care of our neighborhood stray cats, because they're at his house. But those 2 female cats can have up to 5 litters a year. There's nothing humane about the way this town ignores the problem. It is time to deal with it. There's only so much we can do without adequate help from the shelter and animal control. And if anyone needs a kitten, see me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council?
Hello, everyone. Tiffany Cossey, 1306 South Main. I just have a couple of comments about things that are on tonight's agenda that I would like to address. The first item is the budget, and I know it's up for passage, and I'm not suggesting that you don't pass it or that you do pass it. I just wanted to comment on something on it. Those of you who've seen my page on social media already know that this has been an issue. When I was looking over the final numbers, I usually wait until later on in the process to look over the budget book because I know things change. And we had a deficit, and I know this has now been reduced, but we had a deficit in our golf fund of $368,000 when we have traditionally been operating at a surplus. That was shocking to me that a budget with that kind of deficit was allowed to be submitted and that it wasn't caught. I want to thank Mayor Flanagan and the other people who worked with him this week because I know that that deficit is now reduced down to $100,000, which is significantly better. Although I still have a concern about that because when you look at that deficit, it's comprised partially of a $40,000 capital outlay, which is basically a one-time expense for those of you who don't know what that is. I know the council does, but for anyone in the gallery. But that still means that we still have approximately a $40,000 deficit that's operational that will be going forward from year to year and probably growing as inflation grows. I hope the city council will work this next year to reduce that down to a zero deficit. And as a matter of fact, I believe we should be at a surplus just in terms of operations because these last few years, the city has had control over both the pro shop and the concessions, whereas that was not the arrangement in prior years, several years ago. So I'm concerned where this deficit is coming from. The other item I wanted to address is that you're going to see on your agenda tonight a city personnel policy. It was addressed in the earlier committee meeting, and Mr. Gold gave his reasons for his recommendations. And I want to say I respect Mr. Gold's opinion. He and I have had many discussions, and he's an excellent attorney. But I do want to point out to the council members, he and I have a difference of opinion, and I'm not even sure if it's your opinion, but I differ. There's one section in there that I don't like that is a limitation on council members and their ability to access records in their official capacity when they're acting in the interest of the city, and I'm paraphrasing there. Mr. Gold cited to an AG opinion for a fourth-class city, and while that's good information to rely on, I do just want to remind the city council members that are voting tonight that's not binding on the city of Carthage. The city of Carthage is a charter city, and also it's an attorney general's opinion. It's not a requirement. So I'd like for you to take that into consideration. That the reason that I'm so concerned about council members being able to access information is that they shouldn't have to go into a full closed session to discuss it. And also the way that this is phrased, they go through a common contact person, in this case, the mayor pro tem, and nothing against our current mayor pro tem, but I do know that in the past we have had persons who've acted in that role who have been less than trustworthy, and you would be going through that contact point and relying on them to relay the information to the council. And those things concern me. So for those reasons, I would ask that maybe you either vote no or that you vote to postpone this or rewrite that language. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Reports of standing committees. Budget, Ways and Means, Chairman Snow.
Budget Ways and Means Committee met tonight at 5 p.m. to discuss the golf fund budget. And at this time, I would like to make a motion to amend the current budget with new golf revenues of $929,200 and new golf expenses for 25-26 budget of $1,029,349.04.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to amend both the revenues and the expenditures for in the golf budget. Any discussion?
So, Your Honor, So there was some information in the previous numbers in the budget that didn't take into consideration the rate increases at the golf course, which increased the revenues. And also, in the past, we have lease purchased capital items for the golf course. And so we are gonna lease purchase the mower that was in the capital budget. So that's what has caused those two numbers to change, go up and come down.
And in addition, there were some salary adjustments as well. You want to
Yes.
address those?
Yes, we did. There's one position that won't be filled, and then they have not in the past used all their seasonal or part-time hours, so they've reduced the number of part-time hours that we're budgeting for next year.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Anything else, Mr. Snow?
Our next regularly scheduled Budget Ways and Means Committee will meet on July 14th at 5:30 here in council chambers.
All right, the next one is the report on the Committee on Insurance Audit and Claims. Deputy Chair, Vice Chairperson, Mr. Peterson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Flanagan. We wish the best for Lori. She was unable to attend tonight, so I filled her role. The Insurance Audit and Claims Committee had a fairly robust agenda this evening. First, what you will see tonight is we approved the police corporal job description, which per Chief Hawkins will somewhat restructure the organizational command of the police force and provide more supervisory a more supervisory role throughout with this position. And based on the economics of it, it'll actually save the department money long-term. The committee did not see any issues with that description and approved that. We also discussed,
Can you please make a motion to approve the job description?
sorry, thank you, Ms. Cox, yes. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the police corporal job description.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the job description for a Police Department Corporal. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
And next, what is currently listed under old business as Council Bill 2544, which I will move to institute make a motion to move that to new business for a first reading, was the revised employment records policy. The Committee on Insurance Audit and Claims discussed this at our last meeting, followed up on that tonight. Essentially, what the committee discussed was the ability and procedures and protocol for an employee who needs their personnel file, largely whether city council members can request that. Currently, that is the case, but we discussed a proposal where it would go through the mayor pro tem, who would then report to the council as a body and not individually. As Ms. Cossey mentioned in her public comments, Mr. Gold advised the committee that there is a current Missouri Attorney General opinion that suggests that is a good practice. So the committee balanced the interests of the employees' right to privacy and the potential for misuse of abuse of a council member obtaining that information versus the authority and duties of the council to care for the management and overall well-being of their constituents in the city at large. As I said, because it was revised, it needs to be under new business for first reading this evening. So at this time, I would make a motion to move Council Bill 2544 from old business to new business.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to move Council Bill 2544 from old business into new business. Any discussion?
Before that goes into new business, it needs to be rewritten or discussed again, because your committee was not in agreement with the language.
That is true. There was discussion, yes, that potentially wanted to see changes.
How could it be a first reading?
It was actually approved unanimously to move it forward, wasn't it? It was 2-1. 2-1? Okay, 2-1 to move it forward. So that passed.
Okay.
And notwithstanding, there was some discussion, which we can get into in that agenda item under new business.
We still have a motion on the floor, seconded, to move Council Bill 2544 from old business into new business. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Next, we looked at another revision, so section 2122 subsection C of our current municipal code, which deals with termination of officers. The committee, again, had robust discussion on this, largely reverting back to not wanting to have any intentional or unintentional impact on pending litigation where this has been in somewhat of dispute, so we don't want to, I think it was the committee's goal that we didn't want to inadvertently impact that pending litigation. So the committee ultimately decided to postpone that agenda item until July 8th, where we have a better sense of how that will progress or where we're at there. I wouldn't need to move on that.
A motion to postpone.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to postpone the section 2122C revisions of the code to July 8th.
I second that.
All right, so I have a motion, a second, to postpone Council Bill 2544 with the amended wording of Section 2-122 until the first meeting in July. Any other discussion?
Point of order, Your Honor.
Yep.
It's 2545, not 2544.
I'm sorry. 2545. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It is postponed.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. I apologize for that mistake. And finally, while not on the agenda tonight, the council discussed a proposed whistleblower protection policy, amendments to our standing policy. Boiling down to the brunt of it is kind of the committee discussed whether a city council member can be approached with a potential complaint. So in other words, if an employee were to want to file a complaint regarding a city official or department head, as drafted, they would need to go to either the mayor or the mayor pro tem. The council or the committee discussed opening that up potentially to council members and how that would be managed and adequately squared. Again, this is not on the agenda this evening and will be a recurring topic that we visit at our next Claims Committee meeting. I believe that is all for claims, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairperson Snow.
Thank you, Your Honor. Public Safety Committee met on June 16th here in council chambers. First item that we had on our agenda was to discuss road closures for the Bel Air 4th of July parade. So at this time, I would like to make a motion that we close Bel Air between Grand and the cul-de-sac at Clinton and Fulton on June 29th from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
All right, I have a motion on the floor to close the roads as indicated. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. To Alan, would you please reread the motion?
Yes, the motion is to close Bel Air between Grand and the cul-de-sac at Clinton and Fulton on June 29th at between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. for the annual 4th of July parade.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in
Your
favor?
Honor.
Yes?
Yeah, so Miss Lana Griffith came and spoke to us about this. This is the 20-something, 21st, 22nd year that they've done this. It's a kids' parade that they put on every year. The kids decorate their bikes, decorate themselves, and participate in this event. It's not a traditional parade where you have 100 politicians and things like that. It's really just for the kids to get out and show their spirit for the 4th of July. So I really think this would be a fun event. She did invite everyone to attend, and the parade actually starts, I believe, at 5. And so she did invite everyone to come, and if you have kids, to bring your kids, have them decorate their bikes or decorate themselves, Derek.
All right, for specificity, since I'm a military guy, 5 is 05 in the morning. Is that what you mean?
5 p.m.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, Public Services Committee, Chairperson
No,
Schramm.
Your Honor, that was my motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, well,
We have my motion on the floor. That was my discussion on the motion.
okay, I'm sorry. All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, all opposed? Motion passes.
So we also had heard from Roxanne Willard, the Jasper County Youth Fair is getting ready to start. And we have a couple of items that she requested. Miranda, I have this that I can give to you after I make my motions, because a couple years ago, I asked that these roads out in the fairgrounds get named, but we haven't got names on them yet. So at this time, I will make a motion to close the road between Barn 7 and the Chitwood Barn, number 6, from gate to gate, beginning Tuesday night at midnight, July 8th through Saturday, July 16th.
You have a motion
Second.
to close the roads as indicated. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the roads. And Alan, please read again the roads you want to close.
The road between Barn 7 and Chitwood Barn 8 from gate to gate, beginning Tuesday, July 8th at midnight through Saturday, July 12th.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
So we also have, at this time, I'd make a motion to close the road between the Colpin concession stand and the small pavilion 8 from Wednesday to Saturday, from Wednesday, July 9th through Saturday, July 12th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the roads as indicated. Alan, once again, please.
The road between the Colpin concession stand and small pavilion number 8 from Wednesday, July 9th through Saturday, July 12th.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
So one more motion. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to allow camping in the park from Saturday, July 5th through Sunday, July 13th for exhibitor families.
Second.
Park is that?
That would be the fairgrounds, municipal park.
All right, I have a motion and a second to allow camping in the municipal park as indicated by Alan. Reiterate, please.
Between Saturday, July 5th through Sunday, July 13th for fair exhibitor families.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
So I'm hoping, I have asked Ms. Willard to go to the Fair Board and ask them for some suggestions for possibly some fair benefactors, or come up with some names that we can have those roads named next year, because they're not truly roads. They're really more driveways through the fairgrounds. So hopefully we can get those. And the reason they close those roads is so that the animals and the kids and everyone at the fair are safer. So hopefully by next year we can have names for those roads. Other than that, we also reviewed the police corporal job description and forwarded it to Committee on Insurance Audit and Claims. And then Chief Martin introduced the new fire department battalion chiefs. I don't believe any of the battalion chiefs are here tonight, but Chief Martin said that they're planning on having a promotion ceremony. Mr. Chief?
We'll do a badge pinning.
A badge pinning, I'm sorry, a badge pinning, and he would let us all know when that is so we can attend. And our next regularly scheduled meeting will be the third Monday of July.
Thank you. Public Service Committee, Chairperson Schramm.
Public Service Committee met on June 17th, and I have 3 motions to consider for approval tonight. The first one is the Rally in the Park. It is an event scheduled by the Bridge Church to be held at Central Park on September 21st from 8:00 a.m. to 3:00 p.m., and that's my regular time I'm reading, not military time. In the event, it will include 5K starting at the bridge and a worship service in the park, a car show, inflatables, free lunch, and other community outreach activities. And at this time, I would seek approval or a motion to accept the Rally in the Park for September 21st at Central Park.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the Rally in the Park for September 21st in Central Park. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Okay, my second item, seeking motion to approve, is for Sudstock. Jen Black with the Alliance of Southwest Missouri came to discuss the schedule for August 16th in Municipal Park. She advises the free community event promoting good, clean fun. The activities include inflatables, hot dogs, free hot dogs, and the ladder truck from the Carthage Fire Department. She reported that approximately 1,500 families attended last year's event. And at this time, I'd like to seek approval for Sudstock for August 16th at Municipal Park. And I don't believe I have a time on that one. It's not on here. Abby, do you remember what time that was? Oh, wait a minute, it's 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., sorry. 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time to 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Sudstock, August 16th, the times indicated in Municipal Park. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
And the third item for a motion is the Jasper County Youth Fair also. Roxanne Willard spoke about the annual event, as Alan had spoken about, also from July 5th to July 13th. She requested permission for exhibitors to overnight camp in the park to allow food trucks on site during the event. She expressed appreciation for the continued upkeep and improvements to the facilities and extended an invitation for all to attend. So that would be approval of the food trucks, I believe, on this, and the exhibitors to camp overnight from July 5th to July 13th at the fairgrounds at Municipal Park.
Second.
I have a motion, it's a second, to support the Jasper County Youth Fair as indicated in Jana's motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, the next 3 items you'll see later in council bills. The first one was Tyler Markham, he's head golf professional, presented a proposal for implementing demand-based pricing at the golf course. Mr. Markham recommended adjusting green fees based on the time of day and demand, with 18-hole rates ranging from $14 to $32 and 9-hole rates ranging from $12 to $20. He also proposed increasing cart fees from to $10 for 9 holes and $16 for 18 holes and $6 for push carts. A $125 annual cart fee would be added to memberships that included cart use. These effects would take place August 1st. We had a big discussion about this. We looked into surrounding public courses, what their fees were, and this was in line with what they had. We had not seen an approval for this or an increase in this since 2017. So it was time to take a little increase because everything else has gone up, and we could expect the cart fees to also go up on this. So I'm hoping that when you see Council Bill 2537, that you could approve that later in the meeting. Also, we considered an RFP for landscaping the roundabout. This is the roundabout that is it's on Garrison and Elk by Casey's. The bid that came in the lowest was from Scott's Landscaping for $25,170. You will see this later in the Council Bill 2547. On this, Scott's Landscaping has done work for the city before, and it should mirror the other roundabout that is, what would you say, by Southwest Missouri Bank on Garrison, Grand, all that. So they should look the same. And then consider and discuss an MOU with Kiwanis Kittyland. You'll see that as Council Bill 2546, and that's for a 5-year agreement between the City of Carthage and Kiwanis Kittyland to continue their service of that. And then we had Tyler Markham come and talk about the course's expenditures and revenue in light of the projected budget deficit for the next fiscal year, so we could understand what was going on at the golf course, why the expenditures and revenues were as they were, and to help with anything we could in having a balanced budget on that. So that concludes our public services meeting. Our next meeting is, I believe, July 16th. So that's it.
Thank you. Public Works Committee, Chairman Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Public Works Committee is currently between meetings. Our next meeting will be July 1st at 5:30 p.m. here in council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now entertain reports from special committees and board liaisons. Ms. Schramm.
Okay, I have a couple. I had Harry S. Truman, Coordinating Council. They had their quarterly meeting at the Joplin Public Library. It was really nice to see all the projects that they help with, the grants that they help secure. And to tell you how they support Carthage, the Harry S. Truman Coordinating Council has helped with the new sidewalks around the square, along with the planned extension of this project to the surrounding blocks, which you'll see the payment of that, I believe, on the council agenda tonight. And so these were made possible through the Harry S. Truman Coordinating Council grant writing efforts. Funding for a new safe room at Carthage High School is currently in the works, with Harry S. Truman playing a key role in that. And the much-needed roundabout at Highway HH and Chapel Road was prioritized on MDOT's project list thanks to Harry S. Truman Transportation Advisory Committee. Also, I am on the Vision Carthage. And for that, recently, I just attended their board meeting, and they recently had their dumpster day that was a tremendous success. We talked about this last time. The dumpsters were full within an hour, and they're planning another one the week ahead of Maple Leaf this fall. The planting and weeding days are going well, and thanks to many volunteers who continue to show up to lend a hand. And looking ahead, this Saturday, they'll feature their first Vision Carthage Evening Soiree, and this will be in Central Park, and it should be a very beautiful event. They'll have an art walk, a bloom bar, silent and live auctions, wine garden, charcuterie, interactive art displays, sweet treats, live string music, which it's 3-piece music. Last time I was thinking it was a quartet, which it was not. The evening will also include the presentation of Carthage in Bloom Awards, and tickets are available now through Vision Carthage for only $25, and I believe you can buy them up to the event and at the door. So Sally, there you go, there's your plug for that. And that's all I have for it.
Thank you. Mr. Perkins?
This is gonna be fun. I'm gonna do better than I did last time.
Okay.
The CWP board met June 18th, last Wednesday, 3 o'clock. And half the meeting was a presentation by Roddy Rogers, who is chairman of the Southwest Missouri Joint Municipal Water Utility Commission. Boiled down, it's JMUC. Carthage is a member of JMUC. What I took away from it, Mr. Rogers said that in 2050, demand for water will be up by 55%, which is a staggering number. So how do you address that? Well, Carthage currently has how many wells, 17?
We have 9.
Oh, okay, 9 wells, which access aquifers. Other cities, Shoal Creek, other things. But the point of aquifers is that they get depleted slowly, and they even replenish even slower. So how do you address this long term to ensure that there's water supply, adequate water supply for the city of Carthage? Now, there are 9 members of this JMUC, which are, where are they? Okay. Carthage, Moam, Joplin, Willard, Ozark, Monette, Nixa, Republic, Springfield, Dade County. I don't know what Dade County is. That Pierce City? No? Anyhow, so where are we going to get the water? And I want to make the comment before I start. I don't want all of the fishermen from Stockton Lake to go berserk. I'm going to give some mathematical reasoning. The bodies of water are measured by acre feet. So it's the amount of gallons of water in an acre that is 1 foot deep. And that number is 325,851 gallons in 1 acre foot. So Stockton Lake is 27,000 acre feet, which turned out to be 8,797,977, or 797,977,000 gallons. That is in 1 acre, 1 foot over the entire Stockton Lake. Now, Carthage and these other people have in principle agreed to provide a safe yield of 38 million gallons per day. Now that sounds like a lot of water. So if you extrapolate that, that's 13,870,000,000 gallons of water, which will be required per year, starting whenever someone wants to take it. So Carthage, as a member of the JMUC, has ponied up, say they've agreed to take 3 million gallons per day of the 38 million. And that number turns out to be 1,095,060,000 gallons. So the cost, well, let me back up a little bit. The current dynamic is that the Corps of Engineers has agreed with the JMUC to enter into an agreement to access 38 million gallons a day. And to put it even in a better perspective, if you do the math, well, okay. The 38 million gallons per day would represent a 1.57 foot decrease in the lake level of Stockton Lake. That doesn't sound like a lot. So, what we're waiting on, I assume what we're waiting on is an approval. It's been approved, been worked on for a number of years for we're waiting for the Corps of Engineers to present the agreement. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Okay. No, I'm being critiqued by So that is the report. It sounds like a lot of water. It could be DNR may contribute monies to reduce expenses by 50%, maybe. But this is a 30-year deal, which would cost $159,831 per year. Now, this is just an insurance policy. You don't have to take the $3 million a day. You can sell it, or you just have access to it. And that's I think it's a no-brainer for the future of water supply for this city. And Mr. Rogers has been invited to present his full presentation to the council, which he'll do a lot better job. But anyhow, that in a nutshell is what we're looking at for that. And then two other issues. They're gonna build a new parking lot. Randy DeVry is gonna build a parking lot, $350,709.12. And then this is for a 20,632 square foot parking lot, the corner of Centennial and Forest. And then it changed tree trimming companies. They accepted a bid from JASCO, J-A-S-C-O Tree Service, and that was accepted. So that was in a nutshell, that's what's happened. Any questions?
Jack, how many gallons would that be a week?
Well,
You gave us the day and the year. I was wondering how much that would be a week.
well, let me add one thing. Now, there is a limit. The Corps has put a limit. The current power pool at Stockton Lake is 868.6 feet. That's a full power pool. I call it a power pool. But it's limited at 830. It cannot go below 830. So there's that 38.6 acre feet that is available to the members. It's fascinating mathematics, I think. So anyhow, that's what it is. But put it in perspective. If you do the acre feet of 38.6, it's 339,601,912,200 gallons. That's what's in Stockton Lake at that 38.6 level. It's a lot of water. And the fish will still be there. You can catch them, I promise.
Jack, how many of them towns in Springfield drains a lot from Stockton Lake?
Well, I
understand also.
No, they currently do, but they've been doing that for years.
Right.
But this joint group has agreed to take 38 million gallons a day. And that's split up. Springfield would be the largest, and the other cities would be somewhat like, I didn't write that down, so I apologize for that. So anyhow.
This is an example of the utility board and the utility management looking strategically for the best interests of the city, so that we're postured to be in a good shape from a water availability standpoint 30 years from now. I mean, that's what it's all about.
And we'll add the price of water is going to go this way. That's another thing he said, water is money. So if you think about it, it's like selling power in the future. If we don't need it 3 million, you can sell it. So it'd be a revenue stream. But primarily, it will guarantee water supply for the next, until, for the next 25 years.
Thank you. Anything else, Jack? Any other reports? Mr. Peterson?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. While I was out of town almost all of last week, I expressed same to the committee. I was very disappointed I could not make the meeting last week. However, I contacted the members and spoke with Josh Anderson today, who sits on the Planning, Zoning, and Historic Preservation Committee. Last week on Tuesday, July 17th, the committee held a in-house meeting, if you will, with the Walker Collaborative, which is the consulting firm assessing historic design and historic preservation, which is per a grant that we received and was approved by council. Gosh, I should have that date, but in the last couple months. And then on Wednesday, the 18th, there was a public kickoff meeting here in council chambers at 5:30. In sum, there were numerous discussions between the consulting firm and the Planning and Zoning Board over those 2 days. Those also included key city stakeholders or various groups and individuals that are impacted or invested in this space. The brunt of it was really an exchange of information, tons of questions asked and discussion. So where we stand currently is the Walker Collaborative is working on official plans and preparing documentation. In a few weeks, they'll share those with the Planning and Zoning Committee. And then in a few months, they'll have a final presentation prepared on moving forward. So at this time, just building right now, nothing too substantive to report. But I hope some individuals from our city were able to attend that Wednesday evening meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Right.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Kellogg Lake Board met on June the 12th, and the sole purpose of the meeting was to do an internal critique of the Kids Fishing Day. They identified a few minor items that they would like to see some improvement in, but overall they decided that it was a very successful event, which we already have all commented on and know that to be true. So that's all I have. There is no meeting scheduled at this time.
Thank you. Any other reports? All right, and we'll move on to my report at this point. First of all, with regard to the Humane Society, I've not had another meeting with them. However, July 1st, we start the 3rd year of our current contract. So I'll report back to you how that progresses as we move forward. We obviously had another Food Truck Friday since last time we met. That also was, again, very successful. The Chamber hosted a coffee at the Steadley building outside the library for Senator Carter and Representative Loy to address end of session topics, which was very informative. I know there were several city council members there along with others, and they talked about everything from the Chiefs stadium, Royal Stadium meet, or if you will, agreement at Jeff City, along with a few other things. So it's very good, and it's out there available to you. I was able to attend a library board meeting. Those normally conflict with other scheduled meetings, but I was able to do that. And you'll see tonight, for example, a couple of new library board members that we will appoint. The library board, along with, is one of those that actually we have some statutory guidance in terms of what we have to do to position personnel on that board, but I think we've got a couple of great nominees. After that meeting later on in the week, I was able to meet with Julie Yoki and got a full tour of both facilities and an idea of what they've got going on down there, and it's just superb. It was able to attend the CWEP board meeting. Jack obviously was very much awake and taking notes. So that was well run as usual, and subsequent to that, I was able to finally get down to essentially my last remaining, which was the wastewater facility. I got a chance to get down there, and in addition to that, I was able to get in there on what Chuck thought was an early morning, 07:30. I quite honestly didn't think it was that early, but I was able to meet the line crews before they went out and started doing the great things for us that they do every day across the city. So I'm pretty good shape from that perspective. Last Friday, for those of you that weren't able to attend or haven't been by, Cross Lines, just down here east of us, unveiled new statuary out front that was sculpted by Jason Shelfler, a former member of this council. And if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go down there and take a look at it. I think you'll find it fascinating. I did meet last week with the Steadley Trust Board, and we discussed a lot of different things. It was primarily focused on what challenges the city may face and what they might be able to do with us. It was very, very helpful and very informative to me. I was also able to get to the fire department at the South Station and observe the battalion chief, captain, and I guess engineer testing that the chief, along with some of the senior personnel, put together, and it included not only 3 components: written test components, interviews, as well as hands-on testing components. Very well done, and in fact, it was supported by the chiefs or deputy chiefs out of Oronogo, Webb City, and who's the last one? Neosho, who were doing the interview. Very well done, and I was very pleased, and as already indicated, those scores and results were already tabulated, and they're moving forward at those promotions in alignment with the realignment of the fire department that the council blessed a couple of weeks ago. We were down last week at on Elk Street, just off the intersection down there of the roundabout. And if those of you that are familiar with the 24-hour Elite Gym, they did a groundbreaking down there. They're expanding that facility and adding on, which was very well attended. Again, chamber hosted. So it's good to see expansion coming with inside our city. I did establish a hiring committee for our Director of Public Works, and that includes, per ordinance, myself, the chair of the Budget Committee, which of course is Alan, the chair of the Public Works Committee, which is Derek, the city administrator, and for those of you that know Dave Hafner, former CEO of Leggett and an engineer by trade, he agreed to graciously join our panel to help us find the right person to lead the DPW in the future, and we've got several applicants already. Additionally, we've got to date already over 20 applicants to replace our police chief. We'll continue to run through those before we stand up a committee to start looking at how we're going to start interviewing. But that is on board. We do have a council vacancy, as everyone knows. Tom Barlow unfortunately had to leave. The application or the window to apply to volunteer to replace him will remain open through the end of the week. I've got several different names and volunteers already. I will wait till the end of the week, and once that's done, I'll start interviewing those that are interested next week and then come to council with my recommendation/nomination to you. I would also like to remind any member, particularly those watching or those that are listening at home, any current citizen that is interested in serving on a board or a committee of the city, if you go to the city website, you can actually sign up and identify those that you would be willing or might be interested in serving on, and I encourage you to do so. We're going to keep a running list of those that are interested in those positions, and as they become available, we'll certainly go back to that standing list and see if we find people that are interested and willing to serve. Finally, I would say that on Sunday, I was very fortunate. I stopped by the Visitor Center. You just put out as you know, council bill last session. So Boots is now our Carthage Visitor Center. I was down there Sunday afternoon and ran into some international travelers, a busload of folks from Germany and the UK, we're all excited. They're spending the night at the Boots. In fact, they almost filled it or came close to filling it when you added in the tour guide. They were being escorted by a Missouri State tour guide who picked them up that morning in St. Louis and had been with them running Route 66 all day long. So by the time they got down here, it was about 1600, so they were hot and tired, but they were in an air-conditioned bus, and they took a break, and we're looking around the Boots, and he was going to take them on a little, or she was going to take them on a little tour later on. So again, another small world, people wandering through our beautiful city, and had the opportunity to get out there and greet them and welcome and tell them that they need to stay longer and spend as much money as they could. So, and that completes my report. So, next one, we will go on to reports from council members.
Thank you, Mayor. As I noted, I'm disappointed to report that I was largely out of town most of last week, and getting back in the swing of things. I do not have anything currently, but I will have robust remarks at our following session. So thank you, Mayor Flanagan.
All right. Ms. Gilbin?
I don't have anything because I'm the Humane Society and they kind of uninvited us.
Thank you. Anything else?
No.
All right.
But I hope that situation gets fixed.
I agree. Ray?
Short and brief, I spoke with owners and managers of several of the businesses in my ward, having to see if they have any, for want of a better word, complaints or requests for improvements, and the general opinion of everyone was that they were perfectly happy with the services they're receiving and thought we were doing a good job.
Great, thank you. Jack?
One other comment, the drop in water level is essentially equal to the evaporation rate, the natural evaporation of Lake Stockton. So if we're taking 1.57 feet, that much has already gone up into the atmosphere.
David?
I have no water to talk about, sorry, Jack. In talking to, I found it easiest to talk to people in my ward when I'm out walking, because I walk of an evening, and it's easy to talk to people then. Things that continually come up is, people not keeping their yards up, dogs running loose, and I see that out walking. A dog will come out of nowhere sometimes, and there's not much you can do about it. That's all on that subject. What Derek referred to on the planning and zoning for historic, I was invited to attend that, and I did attend. I think it'd be great to get some new guidelines set up, because I think the guidelines went back to, was it 1978? Does that sound right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we're moving in the right direction to keep preserving our beautiful city we have. That's it.
Thank you. Alan?
Yeah, so I would just like to remind everyone that later tonight, we're going to be voting on the city budget for next year. We're going to have a public hearing in just a little bit, if anyone has any comments about the budget. But I just want to express my gratitude to Tracy and Miranda and all the department heads for working on this budget to get it passed. Our budget officially renews on July 1st. So this month of June is kind of critical that we get this budget passed. If for some reason, please vote for the budget. But if for some reason the budget were not to pass, our charter says that we would revert back and operate on last year's operating budget. So it's critical that we get it passed. But I just want to again thank everyone for working on this and encourage everyone to vote in favor of passing this budget. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Janet?
I have a couple things. Let's see. I did attend the Carthage Historic Preservation meeting, and Josh Anderson had been working a while on getting this grant, and the speakers did very well in having some conversations with the attendees. The biggest question asked was about the color of the houses, and it shouldn't really be an issue in this because there's a wide range of muted colors. And the historic district is already set up. It's not a new district. It's already been assigned, and it's out there. It's just the update of all the guidelines that we need, and there's much public input for that. Let's see, the next thing I have is I talked with Jeff Meredith with the Carthage Economic Development Corporation, just to get an update from him. And Jeff shared some highlights from the housing forum that he held at the end of May. There was a focus on identifying actionable steps to develop more housing under $200,000 that is a critical need in our area. He also talked about his collaboration with the city administrator, Tracy Cox, and Julie Reams from the Chamber of Commerce to support small business development in Carthage. And it's just encouraging to see them collaborating and work together to bring in those tax dollars into our city in the most effective way. Also, I attended the CWEP meeting, and just a note on the exaggeration of a fisherman in the lake. Instead of a foot, it was actually an inch of water that he referenced.
No, it's 27,500 for 1 inch.
Yes, yeah.
A foot is 350. Yeah, that's,
Just saying, there was,
it's easier to do it in feet.
Are you saying a foot, Janice?
yeah, it was an inch. Yeah. Also, they voted for their new officers next year. Darren Collier will be president, and Brian Smith, VP, and Sid Teal is recording secretary. And I just wanted, and you will see later, Council Bill 2541 to approve their budget. This is something that I've said in several meetings with them, and Chuck went through every council person that was willing to listen to the entire budget. It only took about 5 hours each. No, it didn't take that long, you cut it. But I would really recommend the approval of that budget. Also, I have some notes from Jonathan at the YMCA. They're doing quite a bit over there. Let's see if I can par this down. Jonathan talks a lot, so needless to say. Where is it? Okay. The sports pavilion, they met with the sports park company this morning to finalize the layout. The construction on the pavilion should start within the next week, and then the sports park will be installed under it and following completion of the pavilion. The location of this is directly east of the Y, and it will have 60 feet by 120 feet multi-sport program area featuring different size futsal fields. Is that right? Futsal fields, 4 pickleball courts, 1 volleyball court, and 2 basketball hoops. It will also be used for floor hockey and preschool sports camp. They have a splash pad that's ready to roll out, but they're waiting until after the 4th of July because there's a fireworks stand on that property, which is directly south of the Y. And currently they're taking fence bids for that project. And it, like I said, it will be located across from Walmart behind the LED sign. All the projects were made possible by a $500,000 grant from Steadley, $500,000 grant from McCune Brooks Hospital Trust, and $400,000 commitment from the YMCA for a total of $1.4 million. And I just wanted to say thank you to our community foundations for believing in our community and partnering in our town. They're completing the drowning prevention. They just finished their drowning prevention class with the ages 2nd grade summer school boys, and they're starting the second grade girls this week. There's been around 100 girls and 100 boys that have participated in these classes. Soccer, they've had 222 signups for that, or they did in spring sports, 222 participants. Volleyball had 123, and swim team had 47. And the municipal pool is averaging 127 plus visits per day. I thought that was quite a bit. And Jonathan would like to invite the public and city leaders to attend the Y on the Square celebration and closing tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. The YMCA also won the Medium Business of the Year from the Carthage Chamber of Commerce at the banquet this year. Jonathan wanted to thank the staff, volunteers, and its members for this honor. I had also spoken with Julie at the Chamber, and let's see all my notes I have here. Hopefully I can find it. Okay. Julie is CEO of the Carthage Chamber of Commerce, and she said they are now neck deep in maple leaf planting. So soon she'll be here to beg for with her begs and pleas. Golf planning is well underway as well for their tournament. They are gearing up for Marion Day's Chamber Tour, which will coordinate with the chief soon. I took that tour last time, and it was very informative. Thank you, Chief, for doing that. She is aggressively working on shop local campaigns to promote Summer Sidewalk Sale on July 26th, and already looking at promoting Carthage for the holidays. There are many ribbon cuttings coming up, and all the council are certainly invited to attend. They have 6 scheduled for the first week of July. Julie is working on many chamber accreditations with more to come in that, on that in the future. Also working with the city administration and economic development, which I mentioned earlier, on business retail recruitment to generate the more sales tax. Julie is on Senator Carter's Small Business Advisory Council and is meeting with them tonight, or she would have been here to speak with the council itself. I attended the Chamber of Commerce coffee on June 13th with Representative Kathy Jo Loy and Senator Jill Carter, and it was very informative. Senator Carter goes over the process of what it takes to get a bill through and how many attachments there are on it, and that she's always looking out for our community. And she's very, very easy to talk to. If anybody ever has a question or an issue, she is open to talking to anybody. Even if they comment on Facebook, she will make sure to get back to them. And I believe that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron?
That's a hard act to follow. Sorry.
You can try.
Not even gonna try. Last council meeting, Jack had a phone call from somebody in my ward at Hazel and Griswold.
She told me she was in my ward. I looked at the map, I can't see it, so.
She's not in your ward, she's in my ward. I went by there, I've been by there twice now, and the only thing that's in any of those yards, either side of the street there, is a limb that has fell down from the tree.
It's in the alley behind her house.
Well, just in the alley behind her house. I wasn't looking for the alley, I was just looking at the main front yard, and that's very presentable except for the tree limb. Second, within the budget's a concern of mine, but I will be voting for it tonight. But next year, I'm going to be trying to attend more of the meetings that the budget has, because I think we need to look hard at trying to get this city more into the black instead of looking at the red or having to cut salaries or what have you. It's important to me that we manage the taxpayers' money just like it's our own dollar bill coming out. I was at the meeting on budget when Chuck presented his presentation to the city, and I was really impressed for that one. I mean, he gave us details of every penny they're spending and how they're building their reserve up so that when something does come up, emergency or what have you, they've got it there to take care of. And as I talked to the mayor, I am really concerned about, as Josiah showed us 2 weeks ago, the bridges going out north. If we don't find a way to come up with the money, think of the people that's going to be locked out from fire, the ambulance, EMTs, trying to go out there and protect them. Or you're gonna have to go all the way up 49 and get over and come back down to their property, or you're gonna have to go all the way out around the lake and back around to Kendrick Town. And I agree with the mayor, I don't think the city personnel, the people, citizens, is gonna wanna give us another tax increase to fix those bridges. But I hope they weigh in the importance of what that would be and people that they would put in jeopardy. But those are a couple things that are very important to me, especially through the budget. But I will be voting for your budget this year because I really didn't have the opportunity to. You almost have to be an accountant, to go through all this. I know Tracy and Amanda and Alan had done a lot of work on that, but I would have liked to have, if I'd have been here prior to our election and got more involved with that process and watching all the department heads and giving their presentations. And is there anywhere where you can say no instead of saying yes all the time? And that's all, Your Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move on to the reports of the administrative staff, starting with Chief Hawkins.
Thank you. Everyone should have a copy of the year-end report I passed out before the meeting. If any of the council member did not get one, I don't know that I gave one to you, Mr. Gold. If you'd like one, you're welcome to it. Just a couple other things. Marion Days has already been mentioned a couple of times. This Marion Days is projected to be the largest ever. And so if you've never been out there during Marion Days, I would encourage you to do so. It is something that you just have to see it to believe it. Within the department, we have 2 officers that are retiring. Larry Swinehart, currently the supervisor of the SROs, he's going to become a school employee, still a reserve through us, still pretty much doing the same job, but as more of a school employee than a city employee. Troy Richards is also retiring. He's going to age out, well, more towards the end of this year, but he's going to actually retire in September. So we are losing a couple officers that we will be looking to hopefully fill. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Chief Martin?
As you mentioned, the promotion testing, that'll take effect in 2 days with the start of the next pay period. We have the 4th of July coming up, but we get a lot of phone calls every year. When are the fireworks going to start? I'm sure the city hall gets them too. So 9:30 is the time we've been told by the fireworks company. 21:30 to you.
I got it.
That's all.
All right. Josiah?
Yeah, I just want to start out and say, just give everybody a heads up. Our street sweeper went down on us yesterday afternoon. Temporary, we had to order some parts in. So if you need anything swept up, if you see anything in the roadway, give us a call down at the Public Works office and we'll send some guys out to do it the old-fashioned way. Square project is moving right along. It finally quit raining, which is a good thing. But right now they're working on the outside bump out, so it is a bit congested through there. Here in a couple weeks, they'll begin to start some of the crosswalks, which will be possibly on the outside corners. There may be an intersection like it might be blocked off. So everything on the middle crosswalk, center crosswalks, they'll do half at a time, but they're gonna try to knock out both crosswalks at once, so then we could open those back up a day later or a couple days later and get that traffic flowing again. So just a heads up there. Other projects are moving along. Airport Drive in Hazel, road widening, we're waiting on a little bit of stuff to be completed on Hazel before we jump over to Airport. Kind of waiting on a contractor to get in on that portion of Hazel there to keep moving on that project. And we are fogging for mosquitoes this week, which is typically a week early, but due to the holiday next week, we wanted to get a head start on that. So that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Abby?
Thank you. I have a couple of things. Just to report on, the central bathrooms should be open by the end of the week, so fingers crossed on that project being completed. The Mahjong class has been extremely successful. We opened even more spaces for this upcoming Friday. Those filled nearly instantly, so it's a very popular thing. I appreciate Jana mentioning it. A couple of people already mentioned Red, White, and Boom, but we're in full swing. We met today. We'll have food trucks, a watermelon feed, free Kittyland rides, and free swim at Municipal Pool. There's all kinds of different times for those, so you can take a look at the social media posts and figure out which thing you want to attend. And as Chief Martin already mentioned, the fireworks at 9:30. There's also a pickleball league that is starting in July, so if you're interested in that, please sign up for that. And then I did just want to address the golf course. I did go back and look at previous subsidies from the city to the golf course, starting in 2006 all the way up to 2022. It was a total of $1,705,827, which is about an average of $106,000 per year that was subsidized by the city into the golf course. Since 2023, and you'll see in your budget book, it's referenced there, we had a surplus of $19,153.31. Last year, $34,276, and this year we're projected to have a revenue of $16,685. We were approved last year for a loss of $104,000, and that's, it's hard, it's a projection, so it's difficult to determine exactly how everything is going to shake out, but we will, I believe, be projected to come out ahead of around $16,000 by the end of this fiscal year. And I'm happy to answer any other questions later on. Thank you.
Tracy?
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that the ordinance has changed regarding the discharge of fireworks within the city. They are allowed June 30th to July 5th from 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. each evening. Better yet, save your money and come to Red, White, and Boom. That's all.
John?
Nothing tonight.
All right, we'd like to report the claims against the city now.
The Committee on Claims filed a report in the amount of $638,004.08.
I move that we approve the June 24th, 2025 claims as presented.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, to approve the claims as presented. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We'll now move on to public hearings.
The City of Carthage will hold a public hearing for approval of the City of Carthage budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
Does anyone have any public, would care to make a comment?
Regarding what?
The
total budget or just parts of the budget?
Whichever you want to discuss.
Okay. I want to discuss the playground that doesn't exist between Kittyland Park and the pavilion on the north side of the baseball field. Excuse me. And I understand that there is a budget proposal for a playground at the YMCA. Is that correct?
At Bear Acres, yes.
Okay, I went out there today, and you realize there is a playground on the east side of the baseball field. There is. It's 3 slides, nice little covered things to crawl up on. So it seems to me that the importance would be for the Kiwanis Club, because those kids have nowhere to go when they're waiting to go on a train or whatever they're doing, and people go to the pavilion and have a big picnic. The CWP had their picnic out there, and they had a blow-up thing for the kids to play on. So it seems to me like that would be the place for the playground, the immediate place for the playground, and then defer the YMCA till, a later date, and that's my concern.
Any other comment? All right, thank you. We'll move on to old business.
The second reading of Council Bill 2537 as amended, an ordinance repealing Ordinance 17-38 and increasing the golf cart rental fees, increasing membership fees due to the cart fee increase, and revising the demand-based pricing for green fees at the Carthage Municipal Golf Course.
Any discussion? Cast your votes. Council bills adopted. Next one.
The second reading of Council Bill 2540, an ordinance of the City of Carthage, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with ATS Contractors LLC for sidewalk improvements along Airport Drive and Fairview Avenue pursuant to TAP 1601-706 in the amount of $574,199.40 in the City of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your vote. Council bills adopted. Next.
The second reading of Council Bill 2541, an ordinance authorizing utility rate changes for electric, water, and wastewater services as requested by the Carthage Water and Electric Plant Board.
Any discussion? Cast your vote. Council bill passes. Next.
Council Bill 25-42, or the second reading of Council Bill 25-42 as amended, an ordinance adopting the budget of the City of Carthage, Missouri for the fiscal year 2025-2026 in the City of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your votes. Council bill passes.
The second reading of Council Bill 2543, an ordinance authorizing a special use permit for a one licensed operator beauty shop by Kirsten Kelly in her residence at 2508 Stevens Street in the City of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Cast your votes.
Gotta hit the star.
Council bill passes. We move on now to new business.
So this one is going to be the first reading again, since it was changed, of 2544, an ordinance to amend section 200 general employment policies of the personnel policy manual of the City of Carthage by adding section 208 employment records policy.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. Just to elaborate, I'll be concise. I know we all had this in our packets, but to elaborate a little bit on what the Claims Committee discussed tonight on this matter, Mr. Gold gave a great explanation of kind of the potential suggestions or parameters from the Missouri Attorney General as to who can access employee personnel files. So notwithstanding the remainder of this document, really that was the crux of what the committee discussed this evening. And as, at least how I phrased it, or how I see it, as kind of a balancing of interests. The city council members have the interest of the care and management of the city at large, as well as their constituents and citizens, whereas the employees of the city have a great interest in their confidential and protected information remaining that way, and that potential for misuse or abuse. Now, currently as it stands, council members can request that file for review. This proposed Council Bill 2544 would have the city council as a body request the prospect employee file, would be made to the mayor pro tem, currently Mr. Snow, who would examine the file and then report back to the body, not the individual. Now, there was, like I said, discussion about whether a individual city council member can request that file just individually, and that's kind of where we stand, is balancing those two, and the limitation on the council individual council member as opposed, in their duties as opposed to the employees. Now, there has really, and Ms. Cox stated, there hasn't been any issues of misuse that have materialized by a council member requesting such file, at least that have ever caused any issues or factual issues. But yeah, overall, I just wanted to clarify that. That was the basis of discussion in our claims committee this evening.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yes, so at this point, we take it from first reading to second reading without any change in that wording?
So yeah, I guess as I understood our committee meeting tonight, we moved it for discussion to the body first reading, whereas it would have went to new business second reading. Am I on the right track?
So do
with
we
your
have to
question?
make an amendment or a motion to change the language of that section one more time, so it does not exclude council members that have to go to the mayor or the mayor pro tem? Now, as we see it, things are going great right now, but we know that they haven't, and we need to take a lesson from the past that for future councils, we need to make sure that the city council does not lose any of their ability to look at records, because they are in care and in charge of the city also. And if there's a misuse of that by a council person, there are avenues for that, for the person to go back and file a civil charge or something. But as of now, I am not going to approve anything that takes any more power away from the council as it's stated currently to change that in any way.
I'm confused. 2 weeks ago, this gentleman made a very direct statement in that the council could not access personnel records. Is that correct? Is that what you said? That's what he said. So what changed between 2 weeks ago to now? I'm still confused. I don't.
Unless I misspoken, I know when I was elected April 9th of last year, the council members were able to, upon request, review a employee's personnel file.
But it goes through the mayor pro tem. Is that the change? Is
that would be this proposed change.
That's the proposed change.
Correct.
But before council member could not access, according to this.
We've never allowed council members to have access to personnel files. That incident last year, I told them that I didn't believe they were allowed to access it, and I was overruled.
Understood. I appreciate
We've
it.
never had a policy that allowed council members to view personnel files.
Understood. Well, then that's my misstatement there. Apologize, Jack. And to answer your question, Jan, I believe, unless I interpreted wrong, that the Claims Committee wanted this body to discuss this here in a first reading rather than having to vote. And because it was amended, it should go back procedurally to first reading and present it to everyone to discuss as we are now.
I think that we need to have a motion if that, to reword that. There should be a checks and balances, but I don't believe it should be through the mayor or the mayor pro tem. There should be a body that we can go through. But in the past, there was an issue of trust with that, and I don't want that to ever happen to another council. So I'd like to make a motion to amend that section to relook at what a proper path would be for a council member to have access, because I believe they're serving in the best interest of the city and have been voted by the citizens to represent them. And if we don't have access to give them adequate representation, I believe that's cutting out powers of the council.
So your motion would
Be
be
to-
to amend and then whatever language you're.
Yes. Whatever, I don't know, as in the council, as in the CIAC did not come up with the language of that, but we need to relook at that to where that's not the checks and balances avenue that we take is through the mayor or mayor pro tem.
Perhaps we have a motion to postpone this until
We get
the
adequate
second meeting
language.
next month.
Yes.
And between now and next month, the second meeting next month, the committee can work on language, or Mr. Golden and the committee can work on that language, and then it can come back as first reading.
Is that your motion?
Yeah, so I'd make a motion that we postpone.
I'll second that.
Council Bill 2544 until the second meeting of July.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to postpone Council Bill 2544 to the second meeting in July. Any discussion?
I would just add two quick notes. I agree with you, Jenna, in the sense that this isn't specific to anything. I'm broader scope, big picture. This could be something that impacts someone 15 years from now, if not changed. So it's not specifically tied. And then secondly, that is the same light. That's no implication of Mr. Snow is our mayor pro tem, obviously.
Yes, it is.
Again, thinking now and into the future. So
Would not a council person, if this, have to give a valid reason? I mean, who's make that judgment? In other words, I want to see so-and-so's file. Well, why?
That's what we're discussing, the path forward on that. We should not be denied that we can see a file, but we need to have a good reason to see it.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
And as of now, if I would ask a question about something I've heard that a citizen asked, if I would ask personnel or the city administrator or the mayor, if we put this into place, I couldn't get the answer of that. They could not answer me. And as the bill stands tonight, it would be that the mayor pro tem would go look at the file, he would report back to us what he wanted to report, what he didn't want to report, but you would not ever see that file. So, and that's good if you trust the mayor pro tem.
Yes, Mr. Snow.
So my concern is that in the charter gives us as the council the power to make decisions for the city. It does not give us the power to manage the city. When we start talking about employees, employee records, department heads, those types of things, that the charter gives that specific authority to the mayor and the city administrator, not to the council. So when we start talking about looking at employee records, employee files, and those types of things, we need to be very careful because our charter does not give us that authority as a council member. So we have to, I agree, there may be instances where there may be questions, but as a council member, we don't have the authority to manage the employees of this city. The only employee that we have as a council, the only employee we have is Ms. Cox, our city administrator. She's the only one that the charter gives direct authority for the council to direct her.
I don't disagree.
I just want to make that point that
Absolutely.
everyone understands that we don't have that.
Right.
I mean,
Right. So where the focus is at, I certainly agree. I don't disagree at all. And that was something we discussed in the sense that it's really difficult to come up with that hypothetical situation.
Yeah, I agree.
But the limitation of not having it, could that be a hindrance for that hypothetical situation? So I agree with you in principle there.
Yeah, Ron.
I'm getting confused here because what we discussed in our meeting earlier, and our gentleman back there is saying that we have no access. And we got a bill here saying we don't, or they're wanting to make it to where we don't have access. Why is this even on the books if you said we don't have access based on the city charter? Why are we doing
We don't have authority, Ron. We don't have authority to manage employees of the city as a council
Do we
member.
have access? You just.
The charter doesn't, the charter doesn't talk about employee records specifically. It just doesn't give us as council members authority to manage employees of the city.
Why in the past did anybody have access to those employees' records? He's
I don't
saying
know that
never
they
did.
have. I don't know that they have.
They did during a closed session.
Okay, closed session.
I have another question. When you said you were overruled, Michael, who overruled you?
I'll speak to that. So when this was discussed at our last meeting, we had agreed that I was going to contact the labor attorney that's advised the city in the past, and his name's Matt Gist out of Kansas City. And so Matt and I had a telephone conversation after our last meeting, and we came to the conclusion that when you look at it from the perspective of the Missouri Sunshine Law, people hear that term sunshine, and the purpose of the use of the term sunshine is that government records and government meetings have this idea that it should be open to the citizens, the public. But the Sunshine Law, which is Chapter 610 of the Missouri statutes, have certain sections of it that make exceptions to that openness. And it allows the city to close meetings for certain purposes. It allows the city to close records for certain purposes, as long as it falls within those exceptions stated under the law. So personnel records are one of those exceptions that can be closed. And the position of the city, as it should be, and I think it should be for every city, town, village in this state, as well as any other state, is to close personnel records because of the highly sensitive nature of information contained in those records. So that's the position of the city, and I fully support and agree with that from a legal standpoint. But the city also has the right to unclose certain records. So if the city decides to unclose it, there needs to be something that says who can gain access. The purpose of this amendment to the personnel policy was to provide who has access to that. And because of the overriding information in the charter, your charter, that says council and the mayor have the care, control, and management of the city, there may be instances where people in those roles, this body and the current mayor, may need to see a personnel record. The question, in my opinion, is how do you gain access when you have 10 people who may individually want to see a personnel file? Again, keeping in mind the highly sensitive nature and the overriding goal of using that access for care, control, and management of the city, not I just want to take a look at it. I want to see what's in that. I feel like I want to be nosy, so to speak. So the concept behind appointing a designated person came from, and Councilman Peterson has referenced a Missouri Attorney General opinion. So there's an opinion by a question that was asked of the Attorney General back in the year 2000, 25 years ago. One might say, well, that's a little ancient. But I don't see anything that suggests otherwise, and I will say that Missouri Attorney Generals rendering opinions on legal issues that are presented by municipalities is not binding. So it's their interpretation. Take it for that reason that I explained. And a question was presented by a fourth-class city, Windsor, Missouri, and the city attorney or someone, a council person, asked the Attorney General to weigh in on whether or not a city council has the right to look at those files of employees for a fourth-class city. And similar to Carthage's charter about care, management, and control given to council and the mayor, fourth-class cities that are not charter cities are governed by a fourth-class charter, or excuse me, chapter of Missouri law governing fourth-class cities, and it has similar language. The Board of Aldermen in a fourth-class city has the care, control, and custody of the business of the city. And basically, the Attorney General came down with an opinion saying, as long as they have that duty, they should have the right to see personnel records. But they gave some guidance. In their opinion, it should not just be any single member, it should be the body as a whole. Well, how do you construct language to fulfill that recommendation, if you will? And so the idea was, this council votes for the person to serve as mayor pro tem. It's your selection. It's not the city's selection. It's not the mayor's selection. It's your selection. And when I created language to try to be consistent with the Missouri Attorney General's view of this, it seemed natural to appoint somebody that you elected as the mayor pro tem. You may not, at some point, or some future council may not agree with that mayor pro tem or their view, or they would think, as Jana mentioned, maybe they would slant it one way or not be forthcoming with information. But any discussion would need to be done in a closed session anyway, because these records are closed to the public. So keep that in mind when you think about a designated person, or the other alternative would be you choose 3 people out of your 10-member council. And every year you elect 3 people to be the designated group that would look at employee records if the issue came up, and would again bring it for discussion at council. That's another version of this that could be maybe an amendment that people could accept.
I still am under the impression that the mayor and the council are in charge of the care, control, and custody. As we write this, you're taking that right away from council. You know, we were elected by the people to represent them, and I don't know why we have to amend this in taking that right away from council. You're lessening the power of your council, I believe. And a 4th-class city is not our charter city, and we've already established in our charter that the mayor and the council have care, custody, and control.
And I will tell you that it mirrors the exact same language that the Board of Aldermen and the mayor of 4th-class city have the care, custody, and control. Same language, same information, it's just the charter provides it and a 4th-class city statute provides it. So I disagree that there's any difference there, but it's up to this board to decide what amendment is appropriate, and I would just tell you that you need to be guided by the sensitive nature of personnel records. And someone brought up earlier, how do you, maybe it was Mr. Perkins, how do you gauge what that criteria is when it's for the care, custody, or control of the city? Can one argue, well, I just want to look and that's my privilege? Or am I looking for a certain reason that fulfills that duty? Yeah.
I say if there's not been an issue before, I'm not sure why it's changing at this point.
I would like to say and take the position that I am going to be in defense of employee privacy rights. I do not intend to vote for any amendment that specifies that each and every individual council person can go see any employee record that they request. That is just not something that I would be willing to support, period.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I agree.
David?
I agree completely with Ray. I mean, no business. An employee can't walk into HR and say, I want to see somebody's file. You know, I don't think they're doing something right. I want to see their file. This is a business, and I don't think we have the right to go in and look at anybody's file.
Okay. Any other discussion? I have a motion on the table to postpone the Council Bill 2544 until the second meeting of next month. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to postpone discussion of this till second meeting of next month. Any discussion?
Not to beat a dead horse, I promise, the last thing I'll say, but I actually completely agree with you, Ray. I think not limiting, we're looking at similar sides of a coin here in that I think the city council could be a vessel in that hypothetical situation to help the employee by being able to do that. So that, and I have no reason to believe I'd ever have to do that. But again, thinking grandiose in big picture, and based on some of the things John and Janice said, I think that hindrance could be a limiting factor in the right situation against the employee. And I respect the heck out of your opinion and agree with you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, Miranda. Should be 122. Council Bill 2545.
No, that one didn't come back out of committee, so it got postponed.
Okay.
To July 8th.
So, the first reading of Council Bill 2546, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the Kiwanis Club of Carthage, Missouri, and the City of Carthage, Missouri to grant to the Kiwanis Club of Carthage utilization of an area in Municipal Park known as Kiwanis Kittyland.
Any discussion? Okay, next.
The first reading of Council Bill 2547, an ordinance of the City of Carthage, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Scott's Landscape and Excavation for the Fair Lawn Roundabout landscaping and irrigation in the amount of $25,170 in the City of Carthage, Missouri.
Any discussion? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to the mayor's appointments.
This will be the mayor's reappointment of Doug Huntley to the library board until July 2028, and the appointment of Cindy Rogers and Lee Sawyer
Yes.
To the board of trustees until July 2028 as well.
And you've been provided biographies on those that would be new appointees, so those are my nominees. Alan, you have a question?
Yes, I move we accept the mayor's appointments to the library board.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, to accept the appointees to the library board. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. All right, we'll next move on to closing comments. I appreciate everyone's patience tonight and understand the importance of the discussions that we're having, and I commend all of you on doing so and keeping it civil. I think that's great. So other than that, I have no other closing comments. We'll move to Jack. You'll start with yours.
I have none, thank you.
All right, David?
Nothing further, thanks.
Alan?
So there's a couple things. I appreciate the debate that we've had tonight. We've had debate on several different topics. So one of the things that I would like to remind everyone is that in our meetings, the mayor is running the meeting and you should only speak if you're recognized. And so I don't know if you noticed, myself and several others have raised their hand to be recognized so that we're given the opportunity to speak. Our meeting, I guess we really don't have meeting rules, but our meeting decorum, we have the ability to speak as long as, once we are recognized, we don't have a limitation on the time that we can put on the floor. So we can say and do or talk about whatever we want as long as we're recognized to speak. So appreciate the discussion we've had, the debate we've had tonight. And, that's what we should do. We should talk about things and make the right decisions. So I just want to thank everybody for that debate we've had tonight. Next, I want to talk about 4th of July. And I believe tomorrow is the first official day that fireworks can be shot off in the city. And am I wrong?
June 30th.
Oh, June 30th. Oh, that's Monday. Well, I heard some last night, so that's why I thought it was today or tomorrow. But everybody have a good 4th of July. Unfortunately, this year my firework shooting son isn't home, so I won't be shooting any fireworks. And just want to wish everybody a happy 4th, and that's all, Your Honor.
Okay, Janet?
Again, I'd just like to thank you, Mayor, for being so involved in our city and attending so many things. I've heard many comments that have said they've appreciated you being there and your input, so thank you.
Ron?
What time do they quit shooting fireworks off at night?
Never. Light 30. Light 30, Ron.
You're right.
As soon as daylight
I hear them things going off at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's all, Your Honor.
All right, Derek?
Thank you, Mayor Flanagan. You're exactly right, Alan, and I need to apologize to the mayor because I pulled the trigger way too fast a couple times this evening. So thank you for that reminder. And then secondly, I just wanted to mention, and he's been a phenomenal help in various ways, but I don't think Mr. Gold gets enough credit for his, behind the scenes, if you will. But he's, I think, a very, very instrumental asset to our city, and I thank you for all you do for us, Mr. Gold. That's all, Mayor Flanagan.
Kate?
I really don't have anything except thank you for what you do, and Tracy and Miranda for what they do, and hopefully we'll get something going with the Humane Society at some point.
right.
That's the only committee that you put, liaison you put me on, so. Maybe you can find something else for me.
Ray?
I have no closing comments, but at this time, I'd like to move that we go to closed session according to section 610.0213. The agenda includes the possibility of a vote to close part of the meeting to discuss hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of a particular employee by a public governmental body when personnel information about the employee is discussed or recorded.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go into closed meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
We have roll call vote, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call vote. Derek?
Yes.
To their tablets, so it's okay.
No, yeah. Electronic.
Peterson was a yes. Gilpin?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Snow?
Yes.
Schramm?
Yes.
Wells?
Yes.
All right, we'll move upstairs. Call the regular session of the Carthage City Council back into open forum. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Doesn't Miranda have to call roll again?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Peterson,
Present.
Gilpin,
Present.
West,
Here.
Perkins,
Here.
Thorne,
Present.
Snow,
Here.
Schramm,
Present.
Wells.
Here.
I now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. If there has to have a second.
I have a motion, and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Session is closed.